What up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we have a grocery haul for you. I did a Kroger delivery order for my groceries, which if you've been here before, you know is one of my favorite services. We ended up doing another Disney road trip, so I needed a bunch of produce and things like that so I could meal prep for the road trip. We are Disney annual pass holders, in case you're new here or maybe didn't know, and I love to go to Disney. However, Disney can get a little pricey, so I try my best to prep food for the kids and breakfast items for us in order to save a little bit on our way to Disney. So we tend to make a lot of like breakfast sandwiches for us, and it helps because I don't know, for me in the parks, I feel like breakfast is the area that they could really use an improvement on. So for me, it's not worth spending like $15 because a lot of the breakfast options are just not that great to me. It totally helps having any prepped item. So that's what a lot of this grocery haul was. In this video, I'm also gonna be making a few breakfast items with you. Listen, do you guys ever have something happen to you and it just takes over your entire personality? Because that's what's happened to me when it comes to homemade bagels, okay? I found a recipe for homemade bagels. I thought that it would be so much more complicated than it is. It is quite a bit of work. I am a shortcut type person. Our third recipe will be a shortcut, but the bagels are a labor of love, we'll call it, but they come out so good. I don't know that I'll be able to buy store-bought bagels ever again because they're so good. Do they look great? Some of them are a little suspicious, but they taste great, and that's really what matters. The second recipe is blueberry muffins from scratch. I know, you guys. Just call me Susie Homemaker over here. I just had this need to do blueberry muffins. So I found a recipe online, made a couple changes. So I'll link the original recipe for both the bagels and the blueberry muffins and the French toast. Everything will be linked down below for recipes, but I did make a couple changes. So if you do go look at the recipe, be sure to read my note below it because I'll leave a little note about what I changed. And then the third recipe is a cinnamon roll French toast. So you take store-bought cinnamon rolls and you make like a French toast situation with it. So those are all gonna be in this video. I'm super excited to share those with you. If you're new here, thank you so much for giving me a chance and clicking on that thumbnail. On this channel, I do a lot of haul videos. I do a lot of recipe videos. And then every so often, I just throw in whatever the wind tells me to throw in over here. I just try and keep it raw and real. So if that is your vibe, please feel free to check out the rest of my channel because I have plenty more videos just like this one. And I hope you'll consider subscribing before you leave. All right, you guys, without further ado, let's check out what we got in our grocery haul. Okay, my friends, I have a small little Kroger haul for you. They just came and dropped it off. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Dreams are gonna come true on this Monday. Bananas, you already know. Bananas are always included in every haul from the grocery store for us. Honeycrisp apples. John is obsessed and he got my son addicted, which is great. I got a pack of baby spinach. I have some goals when it comes to breakfast for myself, and it includes spinach. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Over here, I grabbed some blackberries and raspberries for the kids to try out. The twins have had them, but not often. So we're gonna try those with them. And then strawberries were on sale. A 2-pound box was like only $3.99 or $2.99 or something. Huge thing of green beans in the back. My son thinks those are like French fries, so we're just gonna let him live that lie for a while. You know what I'm saying? Over here, we've got a cantaloupe. I wanna do like a breakfast situation for myself that includes some cantaloupe because it's my favorite. Like, let's start the day with our favorite, you know? So I think I'm gonna start doing like eggs and spinach and maybe some chicken sausage and some cantaloupe and just have a beautiful day. Start your day off right. Cantaloupe is great. Cucumber for salads, broccoli for the kids, always grabbing broccoli. The kids love it, so keep going, kids. Romaine lettuce for salads. I grabbed 2 packs of biscuits because the other day I was like craving biscuits. We ended up going to Maple Street Biscuit Company. If you have not had the squawking goat sandwich at Maple Street Biscuit Company and you have one near you, please remedy that issue as soon as possible and go get it. It's so good. It has like a fried goat cheese medallion on top of fried chicken and comes with pepper jelly. Please do yourself a favor and get extra pepper jelly on the side because it is so good. 4 packs of Spanish rice. It was on sale for like 75 cents each or something wild if you bought 4. And it was the kind where you actually have to buy 4, not where they just like rope you in, but you really could just buy 2. And we love to have that on hand for sides for dinner. I got some cheese cubes and some cracker cut salami, so it's like a little bit thicker. We had purchased this snack pack at Costco that came with cheese cubes, some cracker cut, like pepperoni or salami or something, some pita crisps, and what was the other thing? dark chocolate almonds, pita crisps, the cheese cubes, and salami. Yeah, thick cut salami. So I wanted to recreate it at home because they were kind of pricey for what they were. So I grabbed all of the elements. I got these from the grocery store, and then I got the pita crisps and the dark chocolate almonds from Trader Joe's. I got some heavy whipping cream because I have this idea in my head to make like a no-bake cheesecake, and this was one of the ingredients. Zesty Italian packet. I always have this on hand so I can do easy dinners. I would recommend having this. Plus, it's good if you want to whip up a salad dressing. And then we have some tea because I was running low. I usually grab it at Trader Joe's, and I totally forgot while I was there. In order to not give myself another reason to go back to Trader Joe's, I grabbed this when I did the order. And then last but not least, we have some elbow macaroni and ditalini pasta. I got 4 boxes of ditalini and 2 boxes of elbow because they were on sale. These are our favorite for the kids. It's just easy. I don't have to manage cutting it up or any of that good stuff. So that is everything from Kroger that got delivered this morning. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get all of the produce washed up, because one of my rules to myself is I do not put any dirty produce away as much as I can avoid it, because then it is fresh and ready to be used when it's sitting in the fridge waiting on you. Okay, you guys, I'm super excited. We have homemade bagels going down over here. They are a little bit of a labor of love, but honestly way easier than I thought they were going to be. So let's just go over what we're going to be using today. So I have my stand mixer, and I have a dough attachment, but it doesn't reach the bottom of my bowl. So I am going to try out this spatula one instead and see if it helps me out. If you don't have a stand mixer, it's totally fine. You can just use a bowl, a wooden spoon, and your biceps. You know what I'm saying? Then we have unbleached bread flour. I love the King Arthur brand. That is my favorite brand. I notice a difference when I bake with it. Granulated sugar. Another one that I notice a difference with, I use Himalayan pink salt exclusively for baking. I don't know what it is, but the salt tastes better that way. I have some active dry yeast. I also have some warm water. For the warm water, I made sure it was around 100 degrees in case anybody wanted to like measure out the temperature. For tools outside of my stand mixer, I have mismatched measuring cups. I've got a cup and a half a cup. And then I also have some measuring spoons. I do know that people that are actually good at stuff like this, they don't actually measure with cups, they measure with weight. So if you're fancy, you know, this may be beneath you. Over here, we're just gonna be using cups. This is one of the only recipes in life that I really don't stray from much. So I will link the recipe down below because it is not mine. I didn't make any changes to it. Any of the things that I do a little bit differently, I will update you as we go along. But we're gonna get started. We take half a cup of the water, and then we add yeast and sugar to it, and then let it sit for about 5 minutes. What I love about this, I do want to say before we get going, is that you don't really need to let the dough rise for very long. If you've made homemade bread before, you probably know it usually takes like 8 hours to overnight for bread to rise. This only takes about an hour, and you can speed that up by putting it in the oven with the light on. Don't turn the oven on, just turn the oven light on, and that'll give it some warmth to allow it to rise a little bit easier. That's a great tip if you're in a colder climate too during the winter. Okay, and just one more reminder, all of the recipes will be linked in the description box. These do take quite a bit of effort. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're my friend, I wouldn't lie to you. You're definitely going to get an arm workout in with the amount of kneading you have to do, but at least you've burned some calories before consuming the bagels. I followed the recipe and the instructions pretty much to the letter, which if you knew me, that's shocking. Altogether, I'd say these take about 2 hours to make. A lot of that time, though, is just the dough proofing and you kind of popping in to do random steps. So I'll be popping in and sharing as we go any notes I have on the process. So the first thing that I did was putting the yeast and the sugar in the warm water. You may have noticed that I did not stir the yeast mixture when I first put it together, and that's because that was based on the recipe instructions. So I just let the ingredients get to know each other, and then after 5 minutes, you end up stirring it. While the ingredients were getting acquainted, I got the flour and salt into the mixer, and then once the yeast mixture had sat for about 5 minutes and began to bubble, I stirred that into the flour mixture. After that's done, you end up streaming the remaining warm water in little by little until your dough is firm. If you use too much water, the world is not going to end. I'm a total spaz and kept doing too much, but you can make it up to yourself by sprinkling extra flour during the kneading process. The kneading process is the worst part of this. When you get the dough out of the mixture, you'll notice it's really, really bumpy. So on a floured surface, your goal now is to basically get all of the lumps out, and it's about a 10-minute bicep workout, if you want to look at it that way. Once that's Gucci, you can put it in an oiled bowl and set it on the side with a warm towel over the top for an hour. As mentioned before, you can speed this process up by placing it in an oven that's not on but has the light on. The mild heat coming from the light will give it a warm place to cruise. Okay, now once you've allowed the dough to rise for about an hour, you're going to take out whatever anger you have and punch that dough. Okay, punch it down and then let it chill again for another 10 minutes. During this 10-minute intermission, I took the time to make some toppings for the bagels. You don't have to do toppings. These are delicious plain. We've tried them before as plain. But for this round, I did a cinnamon streusel topping for John's, and I grated some Asiago cheese in a food processor for mine. Okay, now we get to form the bagels, which sounds like it should be the fun part, but really it's kind of the worst. You start by getting 8 even sections out of the dough. You can use a scale to get them evenly split. Mine were about 4.5 ounces per bagel, if that helps you. They ranged anywhere from like 4.3 to 4.7 ounces. I wasn't that serious about it. Once you've separated them, you want to form the dough into a ball and then flatten it out into a disc shape. Try to get all the lumps out and then flour your hand and pop a hole into the center of the dough. I stretched the hole out a lot. The instructions say to go for about 1/3. I think I go for more like 2/3 because I've noticed in the next step you're going to let them rest for another 10 minutes and they end up springing back at you. Okay, so I let those bagels sit for another 10 minutes and I salted my water when boiling the bagels. I don't remember seeing that in the notes, but it's something I do with pasta, so I figured might as well. She also gives options on how long to boil the bagels. I ended up going with the 2-minute per side route because I wanted to have the New York style bagel option. Once you've boiled the bagels, this is the point where you decide if you want to put toppings on the bagels or not. So what I did was I put down a dish towel, so then that way if I did the toppings, it would make a mess on the dish towel and not on my counter. I ended up doing like a Twix seasoning blend that I had. I think I got it at Sam's Club maybe like forever ago. I did that and then the cinnamon streusel topping for John's. And for the cinnamon streusel topping and even the Asiago, one of the things I would recommend is kind of pressing it into the bagel. I noticed that made a difference so it wouldn't really fall off when it was baking. Okay, and then the other thing is I ended up topping my bagels. She had suggested doing an egg wash, but I personally used melted butter instead of the egg wash because I was out of eggs the first time and it came out so delicious that every single time I use melted butter instead, and I highly recommend doing that because I feel like it infuses more flavor into the bagels. And as you can see for the toppings, like I said, I did a cinnamon streusel for John's. That recipe will be down below with the blueberry muffins. And the other I did was a garlic salt and Asiago cheese combination for mine. I've also done it with Parmesan cheese and that was so delicious. And we've also made them with the everything but the bagel seasoning and those are really, really good too. I love these bagels because with a set of 8, you could really do so many different flavor combinations and keep breakfast interesting for the week. I ended up loving making these bagels so much that I decided to get myself a little guillotine, if you will, for the bagels. So what we do is use the guillotine to slice the bagels, and then I actually air fry my bagels because we don't have a toaster. I just use my air fryer as a toaster. So when we're ready to eat the bagels, we slice them, put them in the air fryer, 400 degrees for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how toasted you want it. And then you could use it for a breakfast sandwich or just slap some cream cheese on it. And they've been amazing. Okay, second up we have the blueberry muffins. I swear I feel like a housewife from the 50s anytime I bake muffins from scratch. This recipe was very easy and I really liked the texture of the muffins when they were done. The recipe, again, will be linked down below, but I'll share some notes with you now, and they'll also be written under the recipe for your reference later. I rarely can follow a recipe all the way through, and this one was no different. So they did a full cup of granulated sugar, but I did 3/4 a cup granulated sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I also used my own streusel topping recipe, so I'll have that typed up in the description box. but it includes butter, flour, brown sugar, cinnamon, and pumpkin pie spice, or nutmeg if you don't have pumpkin pie spice. Both myself and my toddler absolutely love these. John's not a huge blueberry fan, but he ended up trying these and really liking them as well, which was surprising. We weren't able to finish them all, so I ended up tossing them in the freezer, which is really nice because you can either thaw them out the night before or just air fry them for a fast breakfast. Okay friends, so now we have that French toast casserole situation where we're gonna be using store-bought cinnamon rolls. So I had purchased one of each. So these are like the grand cinnamon rolls and these are the regular cinnamon rolls. The recipe calls for 2 of the grands, but it does have a note saying that regular is okay. So I have one of each, so we're gonna use that. We've got a 1/4 cup of melted butter. We're gonna use 2 eggs, whipping cream, 1/2 cup, 2 tablespoons of flour. All of this right here, I will not be measuring. So she has measurements, the recipe will be linked down below, but I'll be using my heart and my ancestors to guide me. It also calls for pecans, which I won't be using because it's optional, and nuts are so expensive. I don't put them on optional things. And then I'm gonna be using kitchen shears. She suggested using like a pizza cutter, so that's a great idea. But I have kitchen shears, so I'm just gonna use that to chop these into quarters. And yeah, we're just gonna get this party started over here. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the oven at 350 degrees. This is gonna end up baking for anywhere from 18 to 25 minutes. Okay, so I saved the easiest recipe for last. This is the cinnamon roll French toast casserole. I used my kitchen shears to cut the cinnamon rolls in 4s, and that made fast work of this. I also ended up using a vanilla bean paste for the batter instead of extract, but you can obviously just use extract if that's what you have on hand. The recipe that I've linked down below does not include adding brown sugar, but I ended up adding 1/2 cup because I felt like it needed it, and it turns out I'm pretty sure I was right. They came out perfect. They were absolutely delicious. If you've ever been to Cinnabon and had that dish that they have where it's called like center of the Cinnabon, that's basically what this was like. It was absolutely delicious, and I think this would be a great dish to make for breakfast on a holiday because it was so fast and easy to throw together, and I think everybody in the family would love it. John, we're trying, this is a cinnamon roll French toast casserole.
So not something I should be having at 10 o'clock at night.
No, but we do things weird over here. Breakfast or dessert, okay? I mean, this would be a dessert.
This could be a dessert. That's a problem.
It's a problem?
That is a real problem.
You know, like, because we're in dessert mode right now, you know, it looks like it would be so good if you topped that with some ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, put, like, a la mode, man. But this is supposed to be breakfast.
This is any time of day food.
Yeah. This is it, if you need some joy. Scale of 1 to 10?
Million.
A million? Seems dramatic.
I mean, the only thing that would have made this better is if you made the dough from scratch.
Oh, I see, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would have bumped it up.
But I feel like for canned
cinnamon rolls,
whatever you did to this,
it's amazing.
Is
well, I can't take the credit because this one was not my recipe. However, I did add 1/2 cup of brown sugar because there was no brown sugar and I felt like that was disrespectful. So I added brown sugar.
Always add brown sugar.
Always. It passes the vibe check for breakfast.
It's actually not too sweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you get the sweetness of the icing.
Right.
But I feel like the ratio with the dough is
works out.
Yeah, it's not like overpowering sweet. It's not like sickly sweet.
Got it.
It's not in like the Krispy Kreme donuts. Those are sickly sweet.
Right.
This doesn't hurt my teeth.
Got it. That's a good way to say it. All right. Thank you, sir.
I'm here.
I'm sending your feedback to corporate.
Okay.
Friends, thank you so much for spending some more time with me today. It absolutely means the world to me. I hope I delivered whatever you needed when you clicked on that thumbnail. If I managed to make you smile today, feel free to send this video to a friend so they can come join the party too. I hope you have a magical day. Bye.